Here is the rewritten script with changed character names, shortened while preserving all key beats, emotions, and dialogue intent. The hook is reworded but keeps the same structure and impact. No extra headings or notes. The little girl's legs gave out 6 feet from the door. She fell face first into the snow on Christmas Eve, 1872. Barefoot. Bleeding. Her frozen fist still reaching for a doorknob she would never touch. 5 years old. No coat. No name anyone remembered. Inside that lonely Kansas ranch house, Thomas Hale was pouring whiskey into his only cup when he heard it. Not a knock. A whimper. The kind of sound that breaks a grown man before it reaches his ears. He set the cup down. His hand was shaking. He didn't know it yet, but his life had just ended and begun. Before we go further, if this story already moves you, please take a moment to subscribe and tell us in the comments which city you're watching from. It means everything to know how far Lily's story has traveled. Now, step back into that bitter Christmas Eve on the Kansas prairie, 1872, when one knock changed everything. Thomas stood by the fire a long time. He told himself it was the wind. The prairie plays tricks on a man alone. Makes him hear children where there are only coyotes. Makes him hear crying where there is only ice shifting on the roof. But the wind doesn't whimper twice. He was at the door before he knew it. Rifle in one hand, lantern in the other. He yanked it open. The cold hit like a fist. Then he saw her. Face down in the drift. A tiny thing. Her dress the color of ashen mud. Bare feet. Blue feet. He dropped the rifle. The lantern. Easy now, little one. I got you. She weighed nothing. Every rib through that thin cloth. He kicked the door shut, carried her to the hearth, laid her on a wool blanket. Her lips were gray. Frost on her eyelashes. Thomas Hale had buried his wife 11 winters ago. His boys 6 winters after. He thought nothing left could shake him. He was wrong. Come on, miss. Don't you die on my hearth on Christmas Eve. He rubbed her tiny hands. Fetched warm water, not hot. Wrapped her feet in a cloth, eased them in. She moaned. That's it. Keep breathing, darling. Her eyes fluttered. Opened. Closed. Opened again. Then she screamed. Not loud. Just a raw, terrified sound. She scrambled backward, hit the wall, curled up. Don't! Please don't! Thomas froze. Easy, miss. I ain't gonna hurt you. Please, mister. I'll go. I'll go right now. Child, listen. I'm sorry. She tried to stand. Fell. Got up. Fell again. Still crawling toward the door. Thomas sat back, hands on his knees where she could see them. Didn't reach. Miss, listen real careful. It's Christmas Eve. Ain't nobody going out in that snow. You stay right there. You're not going to what? She couldn't say it. He understood anyway. Something inside his chest that had been tight for 11 years cracked. Nobody's gonna hit you in this house. Nobody's gonna holler. Nobody's sending you back out. You got my word. She didn't believe him. 5 years old and already didn't believe in kindness. He stood slow. Walked to the table. Sat down. Didn't look at her. A man who trained wild things knew eyes were pressure. She watched. Then, inch by inch, she let her back slide down the wall. She didn't come to the fire. But she didn't run. You got a name, little one? Silence. Then so quiet. Lily. Lily. That's a pretty name. Lily Carter. Well, Miss Lily Carter, I'm Thomas Hale. This here's my place. Ain't much, but it's warm. She stared at the fire like she'd forgotten what fire was. When's the last time you ate? No answer. Miss Lily. I don't know, sir. A day. 2. He stood. She flinched. He sat back down. Just fixing to grab a plate, ma'am. He rose slower. Went to the stove. Beans. A heel of dry bread. A thin strip of salt pork. The last piece. That was the whole larder. If he gave it to her, he didn't eat tomorrow. Or the day after. Her stomach growled. A hollow, aching sound. Thomas closed his eyes. Oh, hell! He carried the plate over. Set it on the floor. Fork beside it. Eat. She stared. Go on, Lily. It's yours. All of it, sir? All of it. But what about you? 11 years of silence. That question near put him on the floor. I ate earlier, he lied. Truth is, you'd be doing me a favor. Food goes bad. She looked up. Suspicion in those big brown eyes. She knew he was lying. But she was hungry. 5 years old. Didn't know what to do with kindness that had a price she couldn't pay. It's Christmas, Thomas said softer. Folks share. You eat, it means Christmas came to this house. You don't, I got nothing. So help an old man out. Her hand crept toward the plate. Stopped. Crept again. She picked up a single bean. Chewed. Swallowed. Then she broke. She pulled the plate to her chest and ate like a starved animal. With her fingers. Didn't chew. Gulped. Cried the whole time. Silent tears running down a dirty face. Slow, darling. Ain't going nowhere. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't you apologize for being hungry. Not in my house. Not ever. He slid down from his chair, sat on the floor a careful distance from her. Lily, look at me. Ain't no crime in being hungry. You're a little girl. You're supposed to eat. Mama said I ate too much. Said I was a mouth. Mouse is what ruined her. Thomas felt his jaw lock. Where's your mama, Lily? Her eyes slid toward the door. She told me to sit under a tree. Said she'd come back by sundown. She didn't. How many sundowns ago, darling? Lily tried to count on fingers too cold to bend. 3. Maybe 4. 3 or 4 days. A 5-year-old under a tree in early winter. Thomas had not cried when his wife died. Not when his son died. Not in 11 empty winters. His eyes burned. You been walking since? I got scared of the wolves. I knocked on houses. Most didn't open. One lady gave me bread, but her man said I had to go. A man in a black coat said he'd take me to town, but his eyes was wrong. I run from him. Good, Lily. That was smart. I didn't want nobody to hurt me. Nobody's going to hurt you here. She said it plain. You don't know that, sir? Thomas nodded slow. Reckon you're right. I can't promise what I can't control. But I can promise this. As long as I'm standing, ain't nothing coming through that door to take you anywhere you don't want to go. She studied him. Long and hard. Why'd you share your plate, sir? It was all you had. I saw the pot. It's empty. He didn't have an answer. Not one he could say out loud. After 11 years of being the meanest man on this prairie. Telling church ladies to go to hell. Neighbor boys to stay off his land. He didn't know why he'd opened his door for a whimper in the snow. Reckon I was hungry too, he said at last. Just a different kind. Lily set the empty plate down. Her eyes getting heavy. Sir, if I close my eyes, will you still be here when I open them? The question landed somewhere deep. I'll be here. Promise. On my life, little one. Okay. She curled up on the blanket. Arms around herself. Sir, my feet are warm. I ain't felt my feet in 3 days. Thank you, sir. Hush. Go on and sleep. You're the first person in a long time that called me honey. Thomas had to turn his face to the fire again. She was asleep before he could answer. He sat very still, watched the firelight move across that thin, bruised, beautiful little face. Something he had buried 11 years ago, something with his wife's name and his boy's laugh tangled in it, came quietly, stubbornly back to life. He didn't know her, didn't know how he'd feed her come morning. But he knew this, she was staying. He added a log to the fire, sat back down, picked up the whiskey he'd poured, then set it back down, slid it away. A man with a sleeping child on his hearth had business that didn't mix with whiskey. He watched her breathe. The wind howled. Snow kept falling. Thomas folded his hands on the table. For the first time in 11 frozen years, he bowed his head. "Lord, I ain't spoke to you since you took my Mary. But this little thing on my floor, she's been through enough. If there's any mercy left, spend it on her. I don't need none. Just her." He lifted his head. The girl slept on. Thomas Hale, widowed rancher, bitter man, stranger to his own kindness, sat up through the longest, quietest night of his life, watching over a child the world had thrown away. The sun came up the color of a bruise. Thomas was still at the table. Hadn't slept. Hadn't moved except to feed the fire and pull his coat tighter around her. Then her eyes snapped open. Wide. Hunted. She sat bolt upright. "Easy, darling. You're in my house. Remember me? Mr. Thomas. You made it through the night." She touched the coat covering her. "Whose is this?" "Mine. I put it on you." "Why?" "'Cause you was cold." She pulled it off, tried to fold it, set it on the floor at his feet. "I ain't earned it, sir. I don't take things I ain't earned. Darling, a coat ain't a thing to earn. It's a thing a man gives when the nights are cold." Mama said. "Mama ain't here." He said it quicker and sharper than he meant. Watched her flinch. Hated himself. "I'm sorry, little one. I didn't mean to holler. You don't owe me for that coat. Not one thing." She stood. Wobbled. "Sir, where's the privy?" "Out back. Snow's deep as your waist. You walk with me or you wait." She walked with him. He gave her his second-best blanket and old wool socks up past her knees. Carried her the last 20 feet. She went stiff in his arms, but didn't fight. Back inside, she stood in the middle of the room. "How long can I stay, sir? We ain't even had breakfast yet." "There ain't no breakfast, sir. I saw the pot last night. Empty. Bread box empty. Bit of flour in the tin and coffee grounds. That's the whole of it. Lily Carter. You spied on my larder?" "Yes, sir." "Why?" She looked at the floor. "So I'd know how bad to feel." He had to sit down for that one. "Come here, Lily. Sit." She sat across from him, hands in her lap, back straight. "Now you listen real good. That plate I gave you, you think you cost me something?" "Yes, sir." "You think you're a debt?" "Yes, sir." "Who told you that?" "Mama." "Anybody else?" "The man with the whiskey breath. He said he could sell me for $4 if I was clean. Said I was worth $4 if I quit crying." The silence after that was the loudest in years. Thomas put both hands flat on the table. "Lily, I want you to say something. Say, I ain't for sale. I ain't for sale. Say it like you mean it. I ain't for sale, sir." One more time. Say it like you'd say it to him. Her little chin came up. Something older crossed her face. "I ain't for sale." "That's right, darling. Not for $4. Not for 400. Now we're going to have breakfast." "There ain't no." "There's flour. There's a fire. There's a man who's fed himself off worse." He made biscuits. Flour, water, salt, a scrap of lard he'd been saving for his boots. Rolled them out with an empty whiskey bottle. Lily watched the whole time. You ever see a man make biscuits before? No, sir. Mama said men don't cook. Mama was wrong about a lot of things. She just nodded slow, like she was filing them away somewhere important. When the biscuits came out, she ate one. He made her eat two. She cried while she ate the second. Didn't say why. He didn't ask. Then the knock came. 3 hard raps. A man's fist. The kind that isn't asking. Lily went white. Sir! Under the table now. Don't say a word. Don't move till I say. She dove, quick as a barn cat. Disappeared under the long oilcloth. Thomas went to the door. Opened it a crack. Morning. Morning, Hale. Sheriff Bill Mercer. 60 years old, gray as fence wire. A good man as far as Thomas knew. What brings you out in this? Looking for a child. Little girl, about 5 or 6, brown hair. Last seen up the Kingston Road 4 days back. Got a man in town saying she's his niece. Wandered off. His niece? That's what he says. Calls himself Nate Pritchard. You ask him why his niece is wandering the Kingston Road in winter by herself, Bill? I asked. He said she's prone to running. Touched in the head. Said she'll fetch a reward if brought in quiet. $20. That's a powerful lot for a touched child, Bill. The 2 men looked at each other. A long, careful moment. Bill, you believe him? I believe he smells like a polecat and lies like a politician. I ain't here to bring you a child, Thomas. I'm here 'cause the man hired 3 others to ride with him. They ain't lawmen. Going door to door. Figured a man living out here alone ought to know. Obliged. You seen anything? Thomas did not blink. I seen a whole lot of snow, Sheriff. Mercer held his eyes. Then nodded slow. Fair enough. Mind yourself out here. And Thomas, if a man comes down your road without a star on his chest, asking after a child, you do whatever you need to do. You understand me? I understand you, Bill. The sheriff tipped his hat, turned his horse, rode off. Thomas shut the door, leaned his forehead against it. Lily, come out now. Nothing. He lifted the oilcloth. She was under there shaking so hard her teeth were clacking. Curled in a ball. Hands jammed over her mouth. Oh, honey. He's gone. The sheriff's gone. He's a good man. The other one. The whiskey one. Nate. Thomas's blood dropped 10 degrees. That's him. That's the man said I was worth $4. Lily, he followed me. He's following me, sir. Hey. Come here. She crawled to him. When his arms closed around her, she went rigid. Then, after a long, terrible second, she broke. Cried into his shirt. Gripped 2 fistfuls of the fabric at his shoulders. Held on like she was drowning. He ain't gonna get you, Lily. He said if he found me, he... Don't you put them words in this house. He ain't gonna get you. Not while I'm breathing. Yes, sir. Look at me. He is not your uncle. He is not your kin. He does not own you. Nobody owns you. You hear? Yes, sir. He held her till she stopped shaking. Near an hour. Didn't say a word. Just sat on the floor with a 5-year-old crying into his shirt. When her breathing finally evened. Lily, I need the truth. Your mama, the one who left you under the tree, is she alive? I don't know, sir. Is Nate Pritchard your kin? No, sir. Do you know who he is? He came around Mama's house before Mama sold me. The words hit like a kick from a mule. Thomas had to close his eyes. Count to 10. She sold you for $6 and a jug. Yes, sir. I run first chance. Waited till he was sleeping. Took his jerky. Run 3 nights. Got lost. Then a lady helped a little. Then the tree. then the snow, then your door. Lily Carter, you are the bravest child I ever met. I was just scared, sir. Brave ain't the absence of scared. Brave is what you do when you're scared out of your mind. She pressed her ear to his chest. Listen to his heartbeat. Sir, he's gonna come here. He saw me run this way. He ain't gonna quit. I know it, Lily. What are you going to do? Thomas looked up at the ceiling of the little ranch house he'd built with his own 2 hands. At the coat pegs where his wife's shawl still hung. At the corner where his son's wooden horse was still propped. Then down at the child in his arms. Lily, you know what a man does when something precious wanders onto his land in a winter storm? He don't give it back to whoever lost it. He feeds it. He warms it. He mends it. And if the one who lost it comes asking, he finds out whether they lost it by accident or threw it away on purpose. And if they threw it away on purpose, he don't give it back. Not for $20. Not for 100. Not for anything. She was quiet a long moment. Sir, I never been something precious before. Well, you are now. Outside, far down the Kingston Road, a second set of hoof prints was pressing slow and patient into the fresh snow, coming straight toward the only light burning for miles. Thomas heard the horses before he saw them, for sets of hooves muffled by snow. Lily, I hear him, sir. Root cellar now. Sir. Lily Carter, I am not asking twice. She went. He pulled the rug back, lifted the trap door, handed her the lantern, set her on the ladder. How long do I stay? Till I come for you. You hear that voice calling your name and it ain't mine. You don't breathe. Don't blink. Don't move. Yes, sir. If they get past me, they ain't gonna get past you. He stopped halfway to closing the door. Looked down at that dirty little face in the lantern light. What did you say, darling? They ain't gonna get past you. I know it. 'Cause you promised. Thomas swallowed something the size of a fist. Yeah, honey. I did. He shut the door, put the rug back, kicked the chair over it, went to the cabinet, took down the Henry rifle his daddy had carried out of the war, loaded it slow. 16 rounds. The revolver on his hip had 6 more. 22 shots between a child and the men who bought her. Should be enough. The knock came harder. Not 3 raps. A pounding. Hale! Open up! He didn't answer right away. Hale! Who's asking? Nate Pritchard. Town business. Town's a long ride, mister. What's town business doing at my door in a blizzard? Open up and I'll tell you. Thomas set the rifle in the crook of his arm. Cracked the door 4 inches. For men on horseback in his yard. The lead man was fat in the belly, thin in the face. Greasy black hair. Eyes the color of dishwater. Thomas could smell the whiskey from 6 feet off. You Thomas Hale? I am. Name's Pritchard. Looking for my niece. Sheriff was by this morning on the same business. Yeah. Well, Sheriff's slow. I thought I'd speed things along. She's a runner. My niece. Touched in the head. She come this way. Tracks say so. Mr. Pritchard, it snowed 6 inches last night. Ain't no 4-day-old tracks in that yard. A pause. Somebody's seen her. Somebody. That's right. Who? A fellow. Thomas let that hang. Let Nate hear how thin his own lie sounded. Mr. Pritchard, I'm going to tell you what I told the sheriff. I seen a whole lot of snow. I ain't seen a child. Now excuse me. He started to close the door. A boot jammed in the crack. One of the 3 riders. Younger. Thinner. A scar running from his lip to his ear. Mister, Thomas said very quiet. You got a boot on my doorframe. I do. Take it off after we search the house. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't asking. Thomas shifted the rifle. Just enough that the barrel came into the man's line of sight. Son, I'm gonna say this once. You take that boot off my doorframe, or I take it off for you. And the foot with it. The boot did not move. Nate, the scarred man said. The old man's hiding something. I gathered. Cal in a minute. Nate swung down from his saddle. Walked up the 3 steps. Stopped just behind the scarred man. Hale, we don't want no trouble. Then get off my land. That girl's worth $20 to me. I'll give you 5 if you hand her over quiet. $5. That's a month of supplies in weather like this. I said I ain't seen a girl. I think you have. Then you think wrong. Nate smiled. Not a nice smile. Cal, go around the back. No. Thomas said it loud enough the horses startled. Nobody's going around the back. Nobody's going inside. You got 10 seconds to be on your horses. Or what, old man? Or I start shooting over a trespass. Which the law is on my side about. Which your sheriff will confirm when I ride into town tomorrow to report 4 men tried to force entry to my home. That got Nate. For just a second. The calculating. A crooked man suddenly realizing he was dealing with a lonely widower who knew the sheriff by his first name. Nate, the scarred man said. He's bluffing. Am I? Thomas cocked the Henry. The sound of it was the loudest thing in that yard. Cal, get off the man's porch. Nate, get off. Cal stepped back slow, hand drifting toward his own hip. Don't, Thomas said. Cal's hand stopped. Good boy. Now you and your friends mount up. Ride out the way you came. Don't come back. If I see 1 hoof print on this road that ain't a lawman's or a neighbor's, I'm gonna stop asking questions and start answering them with lead. Is that understood? Nate stared at him a long moment. This ain't over, Hale. It is for today. I'll be back with paper. Legal paper. Saying she's mine. Then you bring your paper, and I'll bring mine, and we'll let the judge sort out why a man's niece ran 3 nights through a blizzard to get away from him. Nate's face went ugly. You don't know what you're getting into, old-timer. I reckon I do. That child ain't a child. She's a debt. Get off my land. She owes me. Get off my land. They mounted up slow, dragging every second. He did not blink. They rode out. Thomas stood on that porch with the Henry shouldered until the last tail disappeared. Then another minute. Then another. Then he sat down on the step. His legs were shaking. His whole body. He'd held it together for 9 minutes. Now it was coming out all at once. Then he stood up. A child was waiting in a dark cellar. He went inside, locked the door, kicked the chair aside, pulled up the rug, lifted the trap door. Lily. Darling, it's me. Thomas. They're gone. Nothing. His heart dropped. Lily, sir? A tiny voice far below. Come on up, honey. She came up the ladder. When her head crested the floor, he saw she was holding something. A piece of metal. Long, rusted, heavy. An iron poker from the cellar floor. Lily, I was gonna hit him, sir. The whiskey man. If he came down, I was gonna hit him with this till he stopped moving. Thomas took the poker from her hands. Set it on the floor. Picked her up. You don't gotta hit nobody today, darling. Is he really gone? Yeah, honey. Is he coming back? Yeah, honey. He is. When? Few days, maybe. He's gonna try the law first. When the law don't give him what he wants, he'll come back. And then we'll be ready. But not you with a poker, Lily. You with me. Right here behind me where I can see you. She nodded into his shoulder. He carried her to the chair by the fire. Sat down with her in his lap. She didn't ask to get down. Just sat there warm and small and breathing. After a minute, "Sir, I heard what you said to him. The part about something precious. You meant it. Every word, Lily. Ain't nobody ever said that about me, sir." "Well, they're saying it now." She was quiet a long while. Then, "Mr. Thomas, you got a wife?" "I had one. She died." "You got kids?" "I had a boy. He died too." "How old was he?" "3. What was his name?" Thomas had not said the name out loud in 11 years. "Samuel. Samuel Hale. That's a nice name, sir. He was a nice boy." "I'm sorry, sir." "Me too, honey. Me too." For the second time in 2 days, Thomas cried in front of a child. Not hard. Not loud. Just enough to blur the fire. He turned his face. She felt it anyway. She patted his chest twice. "Sir, I'm gonna be good. I'll work. I can haul water. Feed chickens. Sleep on the floor. I don't need much. Lily Carter, you listen to me. I ain't keeping you 'cause you work. I ain't keeping you 'cause you don't need much. You ain't a hired hand. You ain't a boarder. You ain't a debt. You ain't a contract. You ain't something I bought. Then what am I, sir?" He opened his mouth. The word came out before he knew it. "Mine. You're mine, Lily. If you want to be. For as long as you want to be. And if one day you decide you'd rather be somebody else's, then you'll be that. But till that day, you're mine and I'm yours. And ain't no paper, and ain't no whiskey man, and ain't no judge in the whole state of Kansas gonna unmake that." She started to cry. Not silent tears this time. This one had sound. This one came from a place she'd been holding shut her whole short life. He didn't shush her. Just held her. After a long while, she hiccuped. Wiped her nose on her sleeve. "Sir, you know I ain't got nothing to give you. No money. No name worth having. My own mama sold me for $6. I ain't worth more than that in the whole wide world. $6 was the price of a drunk woman with a jug waiting. It wasn't your price. It was hers. Sir, what's my price?" Thomas looked at the child in his lap. "There ain't one, Lily. There ain't a price on you. You're priceless. You hear me? No amount of money in this whole country could buy you off this ranch. Not from me. Not ever. Priceless. I never heard that word before. Well, now you have." She pressed her face back into his shirt. "Sir, I'm gonna go to sleep now." "Okay, darling. Don't put me down." "I won't." "Promise?" "Promise." She slept. He stayed in the chair. The fire burned down. He didn't feed it. His arm went numb under her weight, then passed numb into a dull ache. He still didn't move. Around midday, the snow started again. He watched the light change on the floorboards. Somewhere in the quiet, a cold, hard thought settled in. Nate Pritchard was coming back. With paper, or with men, or with a lie thick enough to fool a circuit judge. And when he did, Thomas was going to have to decide whether he was willing to do more than defend his porch. Whether he was willing to ride into town. Stand before the sheriff. The judge. The whole damn county. And say, "This child is mine. Not because I sired her. Not because I bought her. Because she walked out of a snowstorm into my door, and I answered." He'd spent 11 years being a ghost. That was over. "I'm sorry, Mary," he whispered to the empty room. "I'm sorry, Samuel. I know I said I was done. But she knocked. And I opened. And now I gotta see it through." A log shifted in the hearth. Thomas felt something inside his chest he had not felt in a decade. He felt ready. Thomas woke in the chair with Lily still in his arms. He hadn't meant to sleep. Now it was dawn, and a man was watching him through the window. Thomas saw him for half a second before the face pulled back. Then the knock. "Hale, it's Bill." He let out a breath. "Lily, wake up, darling. Sheriff's here. Real sheriff. I need you in the bedroom. Door shut. Don't come out till I say." "Yes, sir." She went. Thomas opened the front door. Bill Mercer stood on the porch with another man behind him. Tall fellow in a black coat, spectacles, a leather satchel. "Morning, Bill." "Morning, Thomas. This here's Judge Wilcott. Up from Topeka, riding the winter circuit. Judge. Mr. Hale." Thomas did not move from the doorway. "Can we come in, Thomas?" "What's this about, Bill?" "It's about a piece of paper Nate Pritchard walked into my office with at 5 this morning." Thomas felt a drop in his chest. "What paper?" "Indenture contract. Signed and dated. Says a Lily Carter, age 5, was legally bound to him for a term of 10 years by her mother, one Hannah Carter, in exchange for $6 and a jug of corn whiskey. That contract's forged." "Maybe it is. But it's paper, Thomas. And I got to bring her in front of the judge to hear her speak. Otherwise, Nate walks out of town at noon with a warrant to hand her over." Thomas's jaw worked. "Bring her out, Thomas. You trust me or you don't." Thomas went to the bedroom door. Knocked soft. "Lily, honey, come on out." She came, small as ever, wearing one of his old shirts that hung down past her knees. She saw the two strangers and stopped dead. "It's okay, darling. This is Sheriff Bill, the good one. And that's Judge Wilcott. He's here to listen to you." Judge Wilcott crouched down slow. "Young miss, my name is Francis Wilcott. You are safe in this room. No one will harm you. Do you understand?" "Yes, sir." "I need to ask you some questions. And I need the truth, even if it's hard." "Yes, sir." "What is your name?" "Lily Carter." "How old are you?" "5, sir." "Is your mother living?" "I don't know, sir." "When did you last see her?" "She left me under a tree 4 sundowns before I come here." "Why did she leave you?" Lily's mouth pressed thin. "'Cause she sold me, sir." The judge stopped writing. "She sold you. To whom?" "The man with the whiskey breath. Nate Pritchard." "For how much?" $6 and a jug." "Did you want to go with him?" "No, sir." "Did your mother explain what was happening?" "She said I was a debt. She said she owed folks. She said a man came to the house and said he'd take care of it if she'd give him me. And she agreed." "Yes, sir." "She cried some." "But she agreed." "What happened then?" "He took me. Put me in a wagon. We rode 3 days. On the 3rd night, he drank the jug and fell asleep. I took his jerky and I run." "You ran?" "Yes, sir. 3 nights. Then the snow come. Then I got lost. Then I knocked on Mr. Thomas's door." Judge Wilcott closed his notebook, stood up, turned to Bill. "Sheriff, that contract is void. A parent cannot sell a child. The transaction she describes is not indenture. It is traffic. And traffic in human beings has been illegal in this country since 1865. Any paper he has is worth less than the ink used to write it. So she stays, Judge. She stays where she is safe, Mr. Hale. That's the question now. She's safe here. I see that. Mr. Hale, I have ridden the Kansas circuit 21 years. I have seen children taken from loving homes on account of paper. I have seen children kept in terrible ones on account of blood. Paper and blood are the 2 worst things a judge can use to decide where a child belongs. Then what do you use, sir?" Judge Wilcott looked at Lily, pressed against Thomas's leg, one small hand wound into his trousers. "I use my eyes." "Sheriff, you will go into town. Inform Mr. Pritchard his contract has been found fraudulent. Inform him I have opened an inquiry into the whereabouts of his previous wards, and if he is still within city limits by sundown, he will be your guest until I determine how long he ought to remain there. Yes, sir. Mr. Hale, the child stays with you provisionally for 30 days, pending my inquiry and the location of any living blood relatives. At the end of 30 days, if no legitimate family has been found and the child wishes to remain, I will sign guardianship papers in your name. Is that acceptable? Thomas opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Yes, sir. Judge Wilcott nodded. Good. Now, I'd like a cup of coffee. I've been on a horse since 4. Thomas made coffee. His hand shook so bad he nearly dropped the tin. Bill clapped him once on the shoulder.